Hey everyone, Erin from Morehouse Farm here, and we are ready to close up the heel of our Wanderly sock. And we're going to do that with a stitch called a Kitchener stitch, which is using a tapestry needle and the end of our yarn to sew these two rows together so that they look invisible. And when you think about it, the idea that we're working on is each stitch is a loop in one row. And then from the top, if you were to look at it, the row above is a loop in reverse. And when you see how that works in our beginning Kitchener video, it's going to make a whole lot more sense. Here we're doing a little more advanced version because we're going to put two pieces together that are not flat. So you're not going to see it grow quite the same way. So go ahead and check out that other video if you get the chance. You can see how it works in practice and then look at how it is going to bring the toe or the heel, of our sock together beautifully. So the first thing we need to think about is the zipper effect of one stitch here, one stitch here, one stitch here, one stitch here. And on the first stitch, that means we'd have one hanging out off to the side in a true zipper fashion, right? They're never going to end up even. In order to avoid that, what we need to do is treat the first stitch just a little bit differently. Notice for me, my right leg is back. That's because I'm a combination knitter. I'm turning it around here just so that you all can see the right leg forward, which is how it's presenting probably on your needles. And before I get started, I want to highly recommend making yourself a cheat sheet. Amy did a great job of laying this out for us in the Wanderly pattern. Now I have a reference right near me that I can keep looking at, which is front needle, back needle. We're going to work the stitch with our tapestry needle as if to knit, and then purl. And this is whether or not we leave the stitch on the needle. So the first one on the front needle, we knit it and take it off. That looks like this, through the stitch knitwise, off the needle. Okay, now we're still on the front needle, we come through purlwise. Okay, now we go to the back needle, purlwise. Again, take it off. Back needle, knitwise, leave it on. Okay, and now we're just following along for the moment. And what that does is it starts to cinch up that heel in what looks like the V's of a knit stitch. Now here we've got the last one coming out the front of the stitch, which is fine. It's just going around the edge of the stitch for the moment so that I haven't looped it over the top and created a big extra bit of slack. As soon as we come back around, watch this, right? I'm giving it a little tug here and I'm back to the beginning of my cheat sheet. So I'm going to the front needle and I'm going to knit and take it off. So look what happened there. See how that stitch now has flattened out and you can see the loop just like it's supposed to. Perfect. So we're going to purl the next one. Okay, now we're going to the back needle. Purl, take it off. Knit, leave it on. And this is just a simple motion I do so that I don't have to keep pulling the yarn through individually each time. You can do it however you like. And that's pass 2. Now we're going to come back to the front. All right. And then we're going to knit off, purl, and leave it on. You'll notice my working yarn is coming underneath the needle because I don't want to end up having an extra gap or confuse myself in what looks like an extra stitch. Okay, through the back, purl off, knit, leave it on. Cinch that up. Okay, come back to the front, knit off, purl on. All right, and we keep on going. Now go to the back, purl, take it off. Here's what it looks like if you want to do one stitch at a time, and then we're going to knit, leave it on. Okay, come to the front, knit, take it off. And then we're going to purl the next one, leave it on, go to the back, purl, take it off, knit, leave it on, okay? And you'll always know where you are for two reasons. One, you can read your knitting to know you're on the back needle. And what did I just do? I just knit that stitch. So I need to come to the front, okay? Knit, take it off, purl, leave it on. And if you talk to yourself, go right ahead. Who's better conversationalist than you? Back, purl, take it off, knit, leave it on, to the front, knit, take it off, purl, leave it on. And again, the more we do this, the easier it becomes. You don't need to talk to yourself quite as much. And see how they're not all even. They're not meant to be, right? This is my practice. I'm doing okay. But see how this first edge just neatly pulls right in? And as we block it, all of these things are going to even out. So there's no need to worry about it being perfect as you're sewing. Give yourself some grace to trust in that process. All right, back to our counting here. I see we've got 5 stitches left here and 4 here. That's okay because we started on the front needle, so we took care of 1 stitch first. We're on the front needle and we've just purled. So now we need to go to the back, purl, bring that one off, knit, leave it on, okay, back to the front, knit, take it off, purl, leave it on, back, purl, off, back, knit, leave it on, front, knit, off, front, purl, on, back, purl, off, back, knit, on. We're getting down to the end, yay! Okay, front, knit, off, front, purl, on, back, purl, off, back, knit, on. Whoops. Now I've lost them both. What do I do in case this happens to you? All right, we've got one here. That was the back stitch. And I can find that because my yarn just went through it. And then the last one in the front is where the yarn is coming through on the other side. So we can find that right here. Pick it up, regroup, because goodness knows this is not the last time this is going to happen. Okay, back to where we started. Give it a tug. So what's the last thing we did? Thank goodness for reading. Okay, back needle. We have just, looks like, knit through this one. Okay, we left it on. So now we're going to come to the front and knit this one, take it off. All right, oops, looks like I twisted my yarn there. See how we're coming through? And now we're not. All right, and then I get to the back, because I don't have anything to purl with, and I want to decide which direction it needs to go. So I want it to come through the stitch in the way that we're describing. We're going to purl and we're going to take it off, right? Just like our cheat sheet says. And here we go. So now that looks like a little ear. That's what we tuck right in. Okay, you can do that as Amy suggested by bringing your yarn inside the sock. Okay, and then we're going to add the seam up the side so that it doesn't bother anyone because they're not walking on it. And there we go. Yes, it is a bit uneven. I'm pretty proud of myself though for this first job. And I hope you are too. As soon as we go block this, you're going to be amazed at how much everything evens out. Even these side pieces, right? We have been doing some decreases here. They're always going to pop out a bit. As soon as we block them and let them go, let them dry, they are going to be amazing. Happy knitting from Morehouse Farm.